Mahfouz, could Iran actually close the Straits of Hormuz? Everyone is asking. The short answer is absolutely yes. And it would be economic Armageddon, economic calamity. This narrow waterway is just 21 miles wide at its narrowest point. That's not wide at all. Source, trust me, bro. Naval logistics. 20% of the world's oil and 30% of all LNG, liquefied natural gas, flows through here every single day. We're talking about, in hard numbers, 18 million barrels of oil daily. If Iran shuts this down, global oil prices don't just spike, they absolutely explode, they triple, right? Here's how they would do it, the Iranians, if they wanted. Iran has hundreds of anti-ship missiles lining the coast. They've got fast attack boats designed specifically for swarm tactics to stop ships making this passage. They could lay naval mines across shipping lanes in just a few hours. But their ace in the pocket, their trump card, obviously not to be confused with Donald Trump, are the P-270 Misket and P-800 Onyx, Russian supersonic anti-ship missiles that can sink even aircraft carriers. They've been preparing for this exact scenario for decades. The economic impact would be instant and catastrophic. Oil prices would triple overnight. European economies would potentially crash within weeks. Gas stations across America would run dry. And if you can find gas, expect 3 to 4 times the price for it. Supply chains for everything. Everything, guys. Because remember, everything else relies on gas for logistics, like trucks moving resources around the whole country, or whatever resources, groceries to pharmaceuticals and plastics, everything. The whole supply chain would collapse. We're talking about a global recession that makes your 2008 recession look like you stubbed your toe on a bedside table that your parents refused to throw away because, even though they don't need it anymore, it's not broken. It's not, it's still operable. So it just sits there in a room, stubbing your toe occasionally when you're not on the ball. But here's the catch: Iran knows that closing the straits is economic suicide for themselves. 60% of their revenue comes from oil exports through the same waterway we're talking about closing. It's literally Iran's economic lifeline. So why would they do it? Because when you're facing the end of your nation's existence, the collapse of your state, potentially, you don't play by economic rules anymore. And that's not we're not there yet, right? The US dropped a bunch of bunker busters. They could say, all right, good job, God save, not the king, but America, and we're off. But if they decide to go further, or Iran now escalates because they feel they're forced to, and then the US escalates in response, well, then it might lead to a situation where the Iranian state collapses or is at risk of collapsing. And then they might act like this. They might say, you might go down, we're ready, I might go down, but I'm ready to take everyone down flipping with me. Not too dissimilar, actually, from actually having a nuclear weapon and following the MAD doctrine, mutually assured destruction. If you go down, I go down, all of us will go down together. That's what nuclear weapons gives you. Iran has a sort of indirect nuke in the form of closing the Straits of Hormuz. Iran's hardliners are already calling for this exact move. They'd rather burn down the global economy than let America destroy them without consequences, without retaliation. The question isn't whether Iran can close the straits, it's whether they're desperate enough to close the straits right now. Have you tried pulling a lion's mane and then seeing what happens? I wouldn't advise it, not from experience, but I think theoretically it's fair to assume that doesn't sound good for your health. But America just said, hold my freedom and oil. Let me see what happens if I do actually pull on this mane. I'm curious. We'll talk about potential Iranian weapons that could be deployed in response to America's attacks in an upcoming video. For the unbiased news and analysis without the Western spin, I'm Mahfouz, and I'll see you on the next one. Stay safe.